Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas is a charming little story about someone bored with his life, bored with his same old routine, even though he's surrounded by people that admire him, and a cute zombie girl whom he constantly, possibly accidentally friend-zones. He doesn't hate his life or the ghouls of Halloween Town. He just wants something else. Then he accidentally stumbles into Christmas Town and is captivated and inspired. He wants to do Santa Claus's job this Christmas, but it all goes wrong, so he returns to Halloween Town and gets with Sally, the zombie girl, and there we have the core of the story. Simply, someone comes to appreciate what he has. But what if I told you that The Nightmare Before Christmas is much darker and more cynical than you think? What if I told you it's about a person realizing the crushing nature of fate and tries to fight against it and ultimately fails? That is what I believe is at the core of Nightmare Before Christmas. It is a story of determinism and the lack of free will. I mean, put yourself in Jack Skellington's shoes. He does the same thing every bloody day, and has been doing so for ages. In real life, you get to eventually retire or die. Jack Skellington is already, well, he's a skeleton. We don't even know if Halloween Town has public holidays. They certainly don't get Christmas off. Eventually you go for a walk, stumble outside of a tree, and find out that you're from a dimension where everything is static and set the way it is. He sees at least 2 different worlds or dimensions in the film. His, which is spooky and frightening, and Santa's, which is colourful and sweet and cheerful. Just think of our world, with our global pandemics, fascist dictators, unregulated capitalism, racism, sexism, transphobia, sexual violence, the threat of nuclear war, climate change, and English dubs of anime, and that this is our world as it's supposed to be, and there's no changing it. And right next to our world is one where none of that exists. I mean, I'd be happy for the other dimension, but I'd be way more doomery. So what is determinism? Well, according to Google, determinism is the doctrine that all events, including human action, are determined by causes regarded as external to the will. Now that we've looked at that, let's look at free will, which is the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. I compare these 2 different philosophical concepts because they are thought to be in conflict with each other, but some philosophers feel that they are actually compatible. Now, I don't fancy myself a philosopher. If you want philosophy, go watch Philosophy Tube or ContraPoints. I'm just going to look at this film through these philosophical lenses, one lens at a time of course, and since I've already done some of the analysis within the first few paragraphs of the script, I won't have too much to say in regards to determinism. I think I'll start with Oogie Boogie. Now, this film presents Oogie Boogie as a sadistic villain that tortures Santa Claus and suffers a pretty gruesome death. But guess who doesn't see Oogie Boogie as a villain? Tim Burton. Well, according to Disney Wiki, I can't find an actual source myself. So why would Tim Burton think that? Well, Halloween Town is shown to be rather morbid. It's a town or dimension populated entirely by ghouls and werewolves and zombies and witches, and they gift children giant snakes. This morbid shit is normal to them. Even our main character, Jack Skellington, is no less hardwired to be this demented. He orders 3 killer kids to abduct Santa, which they do with wicked glee. So Halloween Town is a place that instills this behavior even in their children. So it stands to reason that Oogie Boogie had a similar upbringing. Maybe? I mean, we have to assume that if there's children that they grow up, right? And the kids don't seem to have standards of decency much higher than Oogie Boogie. Come on, if this is thought to be an appropriate gift to children, then Oogie Boogie torturing Santa looks mild in comparison. Remember, in determinism, all events are determined completely by previously existing causes, so that was the determinism lens. There was probably more to say, but that'll be minor, like Halloween Town's interpretation of Jingle Bells. I think we can now say if this film has any favorability towards free will. Well, Jack does exit Halloween Town, but has to return at the film's end. I think that's it. Not very free will affirming. Maybe that's why Jack wanted to steal Christmas. It's not cultural appropriation, it's a desperate attempt to escape fate and a rigid, unchanging universe. He's trying to escape a J.K. Rowling story. And that's Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. You were made to serve a purpose in your set universe, and if you try to go beyond that purpose, you will fail. Accept your fate.